Welcome back, everyone. My name is Ember, and today we are moving on to Volume 3 of One Piece. And also, new camera, because phone camera just kind of looked like shit, and the sound quality was not great. I imagine the sound quality is not going to be that much better here, but hopefully the video quality is a bit less potatoy. Anyway, Volume 3 of One Piece. This covers Luffy's showdown with Buggy all the way up through where does it end? It ends with Usopp and Luffy learning about Kalidor's plan to kill Kaya, the heiress to that big mansion. So not quite as not quite as much to talk about this time. Well, we'll see how long this goes, but in general there's just a few points I'd like to hit. So the final fight with Luffy and Buggy, pretty fun. It was fun. I would not call it like a big old punch 'em up exhilarating kind of fight, but it was the kind of end this fight was expected to get. Just fun, zany, kind of hilarious. Luffy kicking Buggy in the balls while his torso is flying at Nami. Him tickling Buggy's feet. It's just a whole Oda got really creative with this chop ability in how it so utterly backfires on Buggy, and that was just fun to see. Yeah, it was fun. Sorry, I'm a little bit more sparse on content for this one. I'm trying to think of more to say about it, but it was just good. It was just good and fun, and that's really all you need sometimes. We already got the big emotional payoff in the previous volume with Chow Chow the dog, and so this was just a nice little finish to tie everything up. I will say, it does seem to be becoming a trend that Luffy and friends just kind of get chased off the island by the local villagers or navy or whoever it is that is running the place. We'll see how long that trend keeps up. I imagine it will be going for at least a decent bit, but we'll see. So that was good. And then right after that, we rolled into like a one-off chapter with that big afro guy stuck in the chest. And we finally got like our first like dedicated world building chapter. Well, even then the chapter still had a solid emotional arc to it. With the guy in the chest the guy in the chest being stuck there for so long and not being able to check up on the treasure chest that he saw on top of the mountain, only to realize that there wasn't any treasure left in it anyway. It was a nice little piece about people who like sort of put off things that they think are going to not go their way just because they're scared that things are going to go wrong. And Luffy just sort of dives headfirst into it and goes, "Yep, nothing there. Let's move on." And that's the kind of character Luffy is, and he's just gonna fucking go for it, and I fucking love him for it. This was actually the kind of chapter that I would expect to be I expected there to be several of in like the first volume or so, because One Piece is kind of unique structure-wise in terms of Shonen Jump, in terms of the big Shonen action stories. Like, a lot of these stories, like Naruto and Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball and Bleach and all those big names, they have a much more episodic start than you might expect. or well, actually, that the episodic start is what's to be expected because so many of them have that episodic start. But One Piece just completely goes for it. Like, aside from the first chapter being its own self-contained story launching Luffy into the wider world of One Piece, One Piece just goes for full-on arcs, like 8, 10 chapter arcs, and it just goes for them, which is kind of unique. Again, kind of unique for Shonen Jump stuff, and at least the bigger names Shonen Jump stuff, and that's one of the things I love about it. I guess it reminds me a little bit of Magi in that sense. But even then, Magi had some smaller stories at the start, I think. But yeah, it's just got such a great flow to it. Oda feels so confident in these longer story arcs that he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna fucking go for it. Just like Luffy, he's just gonna go for it. And I am just very much enthralled by by just being able to jump right into the bigger story arcs and having these big payoffs at the end. And there's not really a lot of like lulls in the arcs either. They're just consistent all the way through with some really strong peaks here and there, especially at the end. So anyway, the chapter I was talking about, we got our first little bit of like just dedicated world building about the world of One Piece. And we learned about the map of the world and the red line versus the grand line. And it's not like a giant exposition dump. It's just a little bit of info to be like, hey, this is how the world works. We'll get into more specific details later. So that was it piqued my interest. I'm very much excited to see how this world is going to be fleshed out. And it's a really interesting world map too. Like, I've never seen anything like the globe that One Piece has. Let me see if I can... Here we go. Yeah. Like, it's just like a straight line all the way around the planet. Like, that strip of land just goes all the way around. I imagine there might be some other smaller continents here and there, but in general, it seems like that's the main landmass on this planet. And so it's kind of unique. I've never really seen another fantasy world like that. So yeah, it's cool. Let's see. So that was a fun chapter. And then right after that, we moved into Usopp's story. Usopp is I wasn't expecting to like Usopp, I guess. I'm not super into the like class clown comedy characters amongst the group. They're always like my least favorite amongst the crew usually. But Usopp has a pretty decent start. It's not innovative by any stretch. He's a boy who cried wolf character as he's immediately introduced. And obviously by the end of this volume it comes back to bite him, because when the threat actually arrives, no one fucking believes him. Predictable, but still fun. Unless a story is supposed to be like a thriller or a mystery or something like that, I rarely ever knock off points for predictability. I'm totally fine with something being predictable as long as the ride there is fun and exciting and enjoyable. I would prefer if it was unexpected, but it's not bad if it's predictable for me. So, very predictable run with Usopp's character so far, but he is a pretty strong character. He fools around a lot, but he does have things that he takes seriously, like his pirate heritage and the respect he has for his father, who apparently Luffy knew. So that was a nice little detail. And Luffy validating Usopp's heritage was just kind of cool to see. It was some to see for Usopp to know, yeah, this was true. Like I'm sure he knew it was true already, but just to have someone else finally validate it for him was kind of cool to see. And just the way Usopp gels with the rest of the cast, whether they're the main crew or with the people in the village, is pretty fun. Like he's just a very easy character for him to gel with the rest of the cast. I especially liked his relation, his friendship with Kaya. Just like a fun little. He's just a little court jester for this rich heiress. And it's just kind of fun and cute and stuff. Yeah, so Usopp is turning out to be a much more interesting character than I expected him to be. And I'm very interested to see where he goes from there. Let's see, anything else to talk about? Kalidor being a right bastard, again predictable because he's the uptight butler. But again, it works. He's probably not going to be one of my favorite villains from East Blue, but well, again, we still have another whole volume or so before anything of this resolves, I think. Well, who knows? But, yeah. Is fun and good. Let's see. Any more? And, of course, the paneling and the way everything... Yeah. That's another thing. Oda is very good with depth. Like, a sense of depth to his, paneling. Just the... There's a it's very much a 3D space that he plays around with. And just the way that he constructs certain scenes makes them feel so alive and lived in. And is so cool. And again, the action is just fucking top notch. Is some good stuff. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this one. Once again, if you have any suggestions on how to improve this series I'm doing, feel free to let me know in the comments. And let me know if you like this camera better than the other one. I might have to do something a little bit with the lighting. I'm looking a little yellow on the playback here, but hopefully it looks better. So that's about it. Stay tuned tomorrow for Volume 4. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.